So what's the most expensive dental bill you've ever gotten? Hands up if it's in the thousands. Dental insurance is really, really important, but if you pick the wrong plan and you need major work, you could end up with major bills. So it's very important that you understand how to compare different dental insurance plans to make sure you pick the right one. First and foremost, you're going to compare premiums and deductibles. These are probably the easiest parts of dental insurance to compare and understand. Your premium is, of course, the amount that you pay on a monthly basis to keep your insurance active. And as we're going to see later in the video, dental insurance actually isn't very expensive, even if you go for private dental insurance as opposed to a plan through the marketplace. Now, the benefit of choosing a private dental insurance plan is, of course, that you will have way more options, which specifically for me, but for people in general, I think is very important when it comes to choosing a dentist. Then there's your deductible, which is of course the amount that you have to meet out of pocket before your insurance begins to contribute to the cost share. Now, unlike with health plans, with dental insurance, really those deductibles aren't going to be sky high. I don't know of any type of high deductible dental insurance plan. So these deductibles are really going to only be applied to major and even basic services, but not preventative services. So your cleanings, your exams will still be covered even prior to meeting the deductible. Then there are copays and coinsurance, just like with health insurance. Now, if you go for a DHMO, which is of course the dental version of an HMO, then you will generally speaking have set copays for specific services. This is much easier to understand than coinsurance, which is a percentage. PPOs, which will offer you much more flexibility, and I highly recommend a PPO for dental insurance, but there's that coinsurance. Most PPOs will operate on that 50, 80, and 100 split. So 100% of the costs of your preventative services will be covered, 80% of the costs of your basic services will be covered, and 50% of the costs of your major services would be covered. So preventative services would be things like exams, x-rays, cleanings, etc. Basic services could be something like a cavity, and then major services could be a root canal. The tricky thing here is that if you have a dentist that charges more, then your bill is just going to be higher regardless of the fact that your coinsurance will likely be the same from plan to plan. I want to delve a little bit further into those networks and also discuss the benefits offered and services covered. So we've talked a little bit about DHMOs versus PPOs. DHMOs, again, are the dental version of HMOs, and just like with health insurance, DHMO plans tend to be less expensive than PPO plans. They will offer much less flexibility. You can only work with an in-network dentist. Should you choose to go out of network, then you're going to be on the hook for the full bill. Now, I don't want to say all, but many people have reported dissatisfaction with their DHMO in-network dentists. Very often they report feeling rushed, and that could be because of the way that DHMO dentists bill as opposed to the way PPO dentists bill. So PPOs tend to have higher monthly premiums, and then there's that coinsurance as opposed to copays. But with PPOs, you're going to have so much more flexibility. If you use an in-network dentist, usually it's going to be less expensive than out of network. But if you do have to go out of network, you will still have coverage. Another really tricky thing with dental insurance is the services and benefits. You really need to read through your plan and pick through with a fine-tooth comb. Yes, of course, x-rays are covered, but is it just
bite wings?
Or are panoramic x-rays covered as well? And how frequently are these types of x-rays covered? Yes, of course, fillings are covered, but is it only metal fillings that are covered or porcelain fillings covered as well? These are the types of things that you need to know, because when you need these types of services, those costs stack up fast. A brief pause here to remind you that if you have questions, you can reach us at the number on the screen or in the comments below. We are licensed nationwide, and there's absolutely no charge for our services. And please make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date. All right, back to it. And let's talk about your out-of-pocket limit. This is basically just the opposite of health insurance. With health insurance, you have an out-of-pocket maximum. Your health insurance plan is keeping track of how much you spend, and once you reach that financial threshold, then your health insurance carrier would take on the remainder of the bills for those covered in-network services for the remainder of the calendar year. It is just the opposite with dental insurance. Again, your plan is keeping track of how much you spend, but once you hit that financial threshold, you're on the hook for the remainder of those bills for the rest of the calendar year. That's why so many dentists are so busy in the later portion of the year, November, December, because people are trying to get in their services before their plan resets. Now here's another problem. Most dental insurance plans max out somewhere around $1,000. And if you've ever had to have extensive work or even a root canal, you know that it's pretty easy to reach that out-of-pocket limit. And then again, you're on the hook for the remainder of the bills. Now, there are plans with higher out-of-pocket maximums, which brings me to the next topic I want to discuss, which is our client's favorite dental insurance plan. So I'm taking you directly to our website, and this is NCD Dental and Vision. This is our client's favorite dental plan because of the high out-of-pocket limits. So they do offer a few different plans. There's one with a $1,500 limit, one with a $3,000 limit, and one with a $5,000 limit, which if you're someone who needs major dental work, then you definitely want a plan with a higher limit. So you can see it's $5,000 annual max per person, a $50 annual deductible for basic and major services per person. That doesn't include preventative services. Those are covered. A maximum $150 deductible per family. It's a PPO network, giving you more flexibility. Preventative and basic services, there's no waiting period. Major services, there can be a 12-month waiting period, although I'm going to show you about that in just a minute. And here are some of the current prices. Now, if you click here, it would take you to a brochure. I do want to show you something all the way down here. Okay, so major care, 50% coverage. This is that same 180, 50% split that we talked about. Here are the examples of what's considered preventative care, no waiting period and no deductible for these. Basic care, they cover 80% of the cost, no waiting period for that as well. Major care, they cover 50% of the cost, and there can be a 12-month waiting period. That's because a lot of times people wait until they need major care, and then all of a sudden they realize they need dental insurance. However, look down here. Waiting period for major services may be waived with proof of prior coverage provided by member. Proof of prior coverage will only be accepted from the prior carrier within 30 days of effective date on NCD and showing 12 months of continuous, fully insured coverage with no lapse. So that means that you can get this as a secondary form of insurance, basically, and skip that waiting period if you've had PPO coverage. Now, unfortunately, DHMO, discount, and scheduled plan coverages don't count. I would be remiss not to mention there are things such as dental savings plans. These are not insurance plans, but they are an agreement between you and your dentist if your dentist offers one. Generally speaking, they will offer services at a discounted rate for patients that sign up for their plan. They may have more specific stipulations that it only includes 2 cleanings a year, 1 basic service, etc. But again, that's an agreement between you and your dentist, and it can be a great way to save money if you have a dentist that you know and love and they offer such a plan. Now, if you are self-employed and you want to learn more about your health insurance options, I'd highly encourage you to check out this playlist over here. And of course, make sure to check out this video to learn more about marketplace insurance plans. If you have questions, you can reach us in the comments below or at the number on the screen. There is no charge for our services and we are licensed nationwide. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.